Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello, and welcome to PSY News, where I'm your host, Kiara Dewit. And on today's story, there's been a great amount of questions about whether playing violent video games has an effect on aggressive behavior. I'm sure some of us know a few people that likes to play violent video games, or that likes to watch violent people play violent video games. Now, a study was conducted by Hanneke Pullman, Bram Krastrel, and Marcel van Aken. The study was aimed at investigating the different effects of actively playing violent video games versus passively watching them, and then how the level of aggression would be leveled with participants having a free period of play at school. Due to the new age media, children and adolescents spend a great amount of time watching television and playing video games. In a different study conducted by Gentile in 2004, it was found children spend an average of 25 hours a week watching television and 9 hours a week playing video games. Now, the amount of children spend on new age media is 10 times much than just reading for pleasure. Considering the violent nature of these programs and games causes some concern for parents. The second aim of this study is to address the question about whether the active involvement of playing the violent video games leads to more aggression than just passively watching it on TV. Now, it's also mentioned in this study that peers may be better judges of aggressive behavior rather than parents and teachers. Parents and teachers might have a hard time distinguishing rough play than actual aggressive behavior. And a good factor to also think about is game habits. How often does your child game? And if so, what are some of their favorite games? Today, we're going to head out into the field and ask some people how they feel on the topic. And here's to Jen.
We are here in IRSC main campus building, and I have Leo with me. We're gonna ask him some questions regarding violent video games. Hi Leo.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Great. Do you believe violent video games cause increase in the level of aggression?
Well, not really. I mean, I do believe you can get aggression in some games if you're getting frustrated at it, but I don't believe it causes you to lash out at other people, like physically. It's usually caused by other mental problems.
All right. Are there any benefits to playing violent video games?
Well, I'd say it's the same benefit as playing any kind of game. You can de-stress, relax, have something to put your time in.
So are you saying that these violent video games can help with the stress or anxiety?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's any other game. I mean, I play FIFA, I play Call of Duty, both different levels of violence, I guess. I mean, FIFA's a soccer game, and Call of Duty is a pretty violent game. And I'd say it gives me the same amount of enjoyment. I mean,
Okay. Do you believe that violent video games can be an addiction, or it can be considered to be like mental illness?
I believe any game can be an addiction, like any sort of vice. It's all depending on how you manage your time. If you put your responsibilities under instead of focusing on that, then yes, I can see video games being an addiction, for sure.
Well, that should be it. Back to you, Kiara.
Thank you so much, Jen, for that informational report. And now, based on a second article that was conducted by Jack Hollindale and Tobias Gredemeyer, currently speaking, violent video games are among the most popular on the market, most especially first-person shooter. First-person shooter is a type of video gameplay that involves shooting enemies in your target, which a player is able to view their character and see through the eyes of the person that they're controlling. And the methods of their experiment was simple. There was 101 participants altogether, 64 men and 37 female. They were randomly assigned 1 to 4 experimental conditions. 26 were in neutral video games that were offline. 26 were in neutral video games that were online. 23 played violent video games offline, and then 26 played violent video games online. Thereafter, the participants completed a questionnaire to assess their attitudes toward the game and to measure behavioral aggression. The findings of this experiment suggest that both playing violent video games, online and offline, increases aggression compared to playing neutral video games, online or offline. Now, in the discussion of the experiment, they bring up the point that the violent neutral games chosen for this study may differ in properties other than difficulty, pace of action, and enjoyment. For example, first-person shooter games, even offline, contains a great deal of competitive content, whereas the neutral video games contain little to no competitive content. Consideration could also be given to potential positive effects of playing video games, pro-social ones to be exact, games where the main objective is to benefit the other players and or characters. It can increase empathy and then pro-social behavior and decrease aggressive thoughts. Now we will hear from Zena on the field today.
Do you believe video games are rated accurately?
I don't know. I don't play them.
Like E for everyone, PG-13?
Yes, I imagine they would be.
Okay. Do you believe that video games have any effect or correlation to the type of crimes going on currently in our nation?
No.
Why?
I don't. It's make-believe. I don't think it translates into real life.
And what do you believe is an appropriate age for a parent to allow their children to engage in video games that contain vulgar content?
13.
Why?
I just think that's teenagers. You're starting to become a teenager. You probably already heard it anyway, so 13.
Okay, thank you.
How did I do?
Battery down.
Do you believe video games are rated accurately?
No. Actually, I don't.
You don't?
No.
No. Do you believe video games have any effect or correlation to the type of crimes going on currently in our nation?
I don't think it affects those things now. I don't
Why
know.
not?
So I think that is more about head of household who when you learn things from your family and everything. I think that's what develop those things, not a video game or anything like that.
And what age do you believe is appropriate for a parent to allow their child to engage in video games that contain vulgar or violent content?
For me, I'd probably say 14, 15.
Why?
I feel like that's sort of the appropriate age that you're starting to get into that high school level anyway. So I feel like they're going to learn it anyway in those areas. So I think that would be sort of an appropriate time for them to get into those sort of games just so they can learn all those things.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That it?
Yes.
Thank you, Zena, for that informational topic on the field. And that is all that we have for our story today. It is up to the parents at the end of the day to really understand their children and how much time they have access online and what types of games that they are playing. If you feel that a certain game isn't good for your child, then that is all up to you. Once again, my name is Kiara Dewit, and we'll be signing off. Thanks for tuning in to PSY News today.
Audio Jungle.